Hey, welcome back to Next Act Ninjas, the number one podcast for mastering your health and wealth longevity. I'm your host, Rachael Van Pelt. Today, we're talking about bucket lists, but this isn't your average bucket list conversation. We're taking it a step beyond the big one and done adventures and tackling how to align your bucket list with the lifestyle you want to live long term. Because let's be honest, when we're in our 50s or 60s, we've already lived a lot of life. We've had incredible experiences, achieved meaningful things, and we faced plenty of challenges. But this stage of life is also a turning point. Time feels more precious now, doesn't it? It's no longer an endless stretch of some days. That's why I think it's so important to get crystal clear on what really matters to you. Your bucket list shouldn't just be a random collection of goals that sounded good 10 years ago. It should reflect the life you want to live right now, the things that bring you joy, fulfillment, and connection at this stage of your journey. This isn't about checking boxes for the sake of it. It's about designing a life that's deeply aligned with your values, your identity, and the legacy you want to leave behind. So grab a notebook or just open the notes app on your phone because I think you're going to want to take some notes. This episode is packed with exercises to transform your bucket list into a framework for living your best next act. Are you ready? Cool. Let's dive in. First things first, let's figure out what's on your bucket list. We're going to do a good old-fashioned brain dump. Take a few minutes to jot down the top 10 to 15 things that you would love to accomplish, experience, or achieve in the life that you have left. Don't filter yourself. This isn't about being realistic. Just let your imagination run wild. What's been on your heart for years? What would you regret having missed out on if you reached the end of your life and you hadn't done it yet? Maybe it's travel to Egypt to see the Great Pyramids, or write and publish a novel, learn how to play the piano, run a marathon, learn to speak French. Write down whatever comes to mind. If you need to hit pause, feel free to do so. I'm going to be right here when you're ready. Okay, great. Are you done with that brain dump? Do you have your list? Before we go any further, we have to address the key to making any of this possible: your health span. If you're a regular listener here on Next Act Ninjas, then you know health span isn't the same as lifespan. Lifespan is just the number of years you live, whereas health span is how many of those years you truly thrive, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Great health span is what's going to give you the mojo to tackle your bucket list. So you may as well put it at the top of the list. I mean, what good's a bucket list full of adventures if you're not feeling well enough to enjoy them? That's why starting with your health span is non-negotiable. Regardless of what you have on your list, you're going to need the physical energy and mental sharpness to follow through. So make sure you're moving your body every single day. Nourish it with nutrient-dense foods and prioritize your sleep and stress management. Those 4 pillars of health longevity are the key to staying vibrant and ready to pursue your dreams. Remember, your bucket list isn't just about what you do. It's about how you feel while you're doing it. Okay, now that you have health span at the top of the list, let's shift gears. A lot of people think of a bucket list as a collection of big, exciting, one-time experiences. Things like skydiving, traveling to Machu Picchu, or climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. But here's the thing. Life isn't just about those grand moments. It's also about how you live every single day. What if, instead of focusing only on one and done accomplishments, you reframed your bucket list as a way to design your ideal lifestyle? What if it became less about checking boxes and more about becoming the kind of person you want to be? Let's look at an example. Say your bucket list includes running a marathon. That's a fantastic goal. But instead of framing it as a one-time event, you could shift your focus to becoming a runner, or more broadly, an athlete. Someone who can run and hike and ski injury-free for the next 20, 30 years. This way, you're not just training for a single race, are you? You're building a lifestyle that supports long-term health and activity. Or maybe your goal is to travel to Italy. What if you reframed it as a desire to become someone who regularly explores new cultures? That could mean traveling abroad once a year or even seeking out cultural experiences in your own city. When you start thinking this way, your bucket list becomes a framework for who you want to become, not just what you want to do. You're creating identity-oriented goals rather than outcome-driven goals. And these are much more powerful. Think about it for a minute. Doesn't it feel a lot different to say, I'm a master's athlete or I'm a cultural explorer than to say, I completed a marathon once or I traveled to Italy once? Look beyond the usual suspects like travel and hobbies. Think of your bucket list not just as what you want to do, but how you want to live. Ask yourself, where do I see myself thriving? How am I spending my time? Maybe you've dreamed of a cozy cabin in the mountains for family getaways, or a beachfront condo where you can soak up sun, golfing, or kite surfing. Or perhaps you're considering a snowbird lifestyle where you spend part of the year in one location and the rest somewhere else. Just think about that for a minute. You're escaping harsh winter for a sunny retreat in Florida or Arizona or wherever your heart desires. These kinds of goals go beyond the usual bucket list items. They touch on the day-to-day reality of how you want to live. It's not just about where you go on vacation. It's about creating a comfortable lifestyle that brings you joy and connection. And here's an important twist. Not every bucket list item deserves to stay on your list. This is where the concept of a reverse bucket list comes in. Take a hard look at your goals and decide which ones no longer fit the vision of your future. Take those off the list. For example, maybe owning a sailboat was once a dream of yours, but now you live far from a body of water, or maybe the maintenance costs feel like a burden more than a joy. Doesn't mean you have to give up the idea entirely. You could shift your goal to something more feasible, like chartering a sailboat in the Caribbean for a month-long adventure. Or perhaps you once dreamed of buying a luxury car, but now you realize you'd rather put that money towards helping your kids buy their first home or fund a memorable family vacation. When you let go of some goals, you're freeing up mental bandwidth and resources that you can use to focus on the goals that truly align with your long-term desires. This is the perfect time to step back and reevaluate. Some bucket list goals might feel less relevant now than they once did. That's okay. Letting go is not a failure, it's clarity. It's about aligning your bucket list with your current values and the vision that you have for your life now. Okay, so let's put all this into action. Go back and revisit your brain dump. The first thing to do is to pull out your top 10. Look at each one and ask yourself, what kind of person would I need to become to achieve this? For example, if your goal is learn to dance, then your identity would be to become a dancer. If your goal is to write a novel, then your identity would be to become a writer. Then take a moment to refine that list. Cross out anything on your bucket list that no longer fits your long-term vision. Reverse your bucket list. Mentally and emotionally let go of some of the goals that you can, things that are going to free up the mental bandwidth. Then break down the goals that are left into lifestyle habits. For each identity-oriented goal, write down one or two small habits that you can start today that'll move you closer to that lifestyle. For example, if you want to become a dancer, you might start with the habit of moving joyfully to music 10 to 15 minutes every day. If you want to become a writer, you'd start with joyfully writing 1,000 words every day. Now, you might be asking, what about the big list goals, like buying a vacation property for family getaways? How do you flip something like that to an identity-oriented goal and lifestyle habits? And it's a great question. On the surface, this seems like a straightforward goal. You simply want a place where your family can gather and make memories. But if we dig deeper, the real goal isn't about the property itself. It's about who you need to become to make that dream a reality. To achieve this, you need to become the kind of person who prioritizes family connections and someone who values shared experiences. Because it's not just about buying real estate, it's about creating a space where your loved ones can come together and build traditions. That means you'd be thinking beyond just the location or purchase price or market value. You'd be focusing on how the property will serve your family over the years. You'd want to design a lifestyle that makes regular gatherings possible, whether that's hosting reunions or holiday celebrations or just impromptu weekend getaways. You'd also want to embody qualities like being a good planner, a mindful steward of resources, and a visionary for what your family needs now and in the future. When you shift to that longevity mindset, then you even start thinking about how that dream vacation home could become part of the legacy you leave your family. It's a powerful shift, isn't it? To then break this down into actionable habits, you might start with hosting more family get-togethers in your current home. Or you might rent a property in your favorite vacation spot to figure out what works best for your family. When you shift your focus from buying vacation property to being someone who fosters family connections, you're aligning your goals with a deeper, more sustainable purpose, one that reflects the lifestyle and legacy you're really after. I've noticed that when my clients take this approach, they are far happier in the long run. That's because they stop chasing random goals that leave them feeling empty afterwards. They start taking the natural next step in the progression towards who they're becoming. If they're becoming a master's athlete, of course they hire a coach to help them train. If they're becoming a family connector and visionary, of course they would hire a realtor to help them relocate to be near family or buy that vacation home. It's just part and parcel to who they're becoming. It's the next step that's aligned with their lifestyle choices. Bottom line, your bucket list isn't just a checklist of things for you to do before you die. It is a reflection of the life that you want to live and the person you want to become. By focusing on your health span, thinking about your day-to-day lifestyle, and letting go of goals that no longer serve you, you get to create a bucket list that's aligned with your values and your long game. So here's my challenge to you. Flip at least one goal into an identity-oriented lifestyle goal and let go one that no longer fits. Then take one small step towards making your dreams a reality. If you enjoyed this exercise, I highly recommend using my lifestyle longevity assessment tool. You'll find the link in the show notes. That tool is going to help you get even more clarity around the lifestyle you're after for your next act. And hop on a free consult call if you want help upsizing or downsizing or simply thriving in place. Until next time, live well, love more, age less, my friends.